aggressive I did? Not so fast.
All right, John, guys, real quick.
Got your hands up.
From the roll perspective too.
This is
I need you guys to get the time off the roll.
Where's his glove in the face? And then
Hey,
where's his
roll this
face?
in. Watch how wide I step. See how I changed my foot? I wasn't doing this, man. It's how I connect together. Now when I run, I'm going to run it before you.
You are listening to Words with a Mad Coach. I am Mad Coach. I am Mad Coach. I am. I am Mad Coach. I am Mad Coach. I am. You are listening to Words with a Mad Coach. I told you that in 2021, I was going to be more transparent. I was going to be open and honest about certain things that happen in the gym that aren't always favorable. In other words, we're talking about real beef, real heat. Now, what we're not talking about is violence. So I'm not going to go into what happened if it was a really, really, really bad or really, really, really negative. In terms of what both parties experienced, I got to keep that private. You know, I just can't give you that, but I will try to give you as much as I can that led up to the energy, and especially if it was resolved in the gym and self-contained. So I'm going to start with myself. And the first situation that really happened was between me and a fighter named Ricky Saxton. Pretty Ricky. It was around about 2011. Ricky had a fight scheduled down in South Carolina. He's fighting for a promotion called Warfare. This fight, if I do remember correctly, was on a Friday night and I had to work all day. Ricky and I had been communicating up to that point. There didn't seem to be any problem. Didn't seem to be anything negative going on between us or anything. There were no warning signs. I end up getting off work and I drive 4 hours down to South Carolina. And when I get to South Carolina, I'm trying to call Ricky on my cell phone. I'm getting no answer. In fact, I had tried to call him on the way to the venue. When I get to the venue, finally, a few guys from North Carolina had recognized me and they came out and I said, hey, could you go look for my fighter, Ricky Saxton? This was only maybe the second fight that we had scheduled with one another, you know. I didn't expect them to know him right away. So they went inside and they tried to find Ricky. They asked around, they talked to several other teams, no Ricky on site. And finally somebody gave me the word that Ricky was not allowed to fight. Either he didn't make weight, he didn't pass the physical. I can't remember the exact details to this day, which is irrelevant because he could have called me. And Ricky was not on site, he wasn't allowed to fight. And from what everyone knew, Ricky went back to North Carolina. I was totally pissed. He didn't try to call me, didn't try to contact, left no message, nothing. I was just there. What happened was it finally kind of worked itself out because there was a fighter on site by the name of Jason Dillon, who I had trained with early on in one of my original gyms. And Jason had since that time moved on and trained with some other gyms. And at this point, Jason was trying to create his own team, his own crew, but his team was inexperienced in terms of working the corner. And somehow someone recognized me or whatever and sent word to Jason. And one of the guys came out and said, hey, are you Sess? I said, yeah. And he says, hey, Turbo's here. And that's what we called him, Turbo. And he said, Turbo's here, but he doesn't really have a corner man. And he asked if I would. And so everything kind of worked out. I just went ahead and went through the process and got inside and became the corner man for Turbo that night. And Turbo ended up winning the championship. I think it was the 155 championship. So that kind of self-corrected the situation between me and Ricky. It made the trip worthwhile, but it would probably be another 6 months before I would have anything to do with Ricky in the gym. In other words, he would fight again some 8 or 9 months later. Leading up to that point, those first 6 months, I just kind of avoided him. Ricky had just got out of college, smart guy. He may have had his own plans. I just didn't want to be involved with someone who was going to be dipping in and out and just using me on a whim. I wanted something a little bit more concrete. I felt that was fair. Ultimately, we reconciled whatever it was. You know, I can't exactly remember if we talked about it or it was just one of those natural progressions where we just started working together again. And Ricky ended up fighting one of my favorite fights against a guy named Tyler Wilkerson. He won that fight, but it was just the the change up, the fight IQ, the intelligence that Ricky showed during that fight, especially for an amateur. And then ultimately, you know, Ricky would win 2 titles, one with Fight Lab and one with Bull City Brawl. Then he would get married and move out to Colorado, and then he would join one of my favorite MMA teams. He would join Team Elevation, and then he would join my favorite team of all time, America's Team. No, not the Dallas Cowboys. No, he joined the Real Americans team, and I'm talking about he joined and enlisted into the United States Army. So that's my story. Like I said, there's always going to be some kind of conflict, some kind of friction in the gym. It's just the way you handle it that makes the difference. I am Coach Sess, and you have had words with the Mad Coach.